And we return to the SSAA Shot Expo in Melbourne with the man himself, Senator Leyonhjelm. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you and your party, and also Mr Stonehouse on his election to the election into the WA Upper House.
Yes, very good news. It's part of our plan. Obviously, it's not sufficient for me to be the only parliamentary representative of my party and the values that we stand for. So getting Aaron elected in Western Australia was basically the first step in our broadening out our footprint. We have designs on other parliaments, state parliaments. South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales are definitely on our agenda in the next 2 years. We'd like to think that we can win seats in each of those states as well. And the intention, of course, is that they change the rules with the Senate voting. So if it becomes too difficult for us to win another seat, and it's going to be very difficult for any minor party to win a seat again in the Senate, then we will have our backstop of a solid presence in the state parliaments.
With the election of Mr Stonehouse, are we seeing a shift to more libertarian values, as in leave us the hell alone?
I'd like to think so, but I'm not sure that we can say that yet. Certainly there are plenty of people who say, leave me alone. What I'm not sure about is whether more people will vote, leave me alone. We're going to find out, I guess, over the next few years, because that's our proposition. We want shooters to say, leave me alone, and vote for a party that says, leave shooters alone. But we want motorbike riders to do the same thing, fishers to do the same thing, four-wheel drivers to do the same thing, even gays who want to say, leave me alone, just leave me alone. I'm not interested in the equality argument that the gays run, but I am interested in, and will speak up for, the leave me alone proposition. And it applies to lots and lots of groups who just want to be left alone. They don't want anything from the government, but they don't want the government to do anything to them. And if we can get people thinking like that and voting like that, we can be very successful, and we can also make their lives better. But if they sort of say, yeah, well, I wish they'd leave me alone, and then they go and vote for the same old parties, then we're not going to make any progress. And I'm not sure whether we're at that stage yet where voting is changing.
We saw last year with the flat-out lie to you in your office by Minister Keenan over the Adler debacle, and then he comes out and says that the strength, he wasn't going to do anything to the new NFA besides the lever action shotgun reclassification. But then we see what is actually in the new NFA, and that is another flat-out lie from a minister who is supposed to be Minister for Justice. What do we have to do to, one, get him out of office, and two, to overturn these silly things that are in the new NFA?
Well, you're quite right. It was a total deception of me in relation to the Adler import ban. So I was told the ban would be lifted. Then they reimposed the ban a week before it was due to be lifted and said we never had any intention of letting them in. And that is an unhealed wound as far as I'm concerned. The government needs my vote, and they don't get my vote so long as that unhealed wound remains, and provided it doesn't raise what they want my vote for, doesn't raise a matter of principle. So goodwill is not in high volume at the moment, high quantities at the moment. The Minister for Justice, Keenan, has also misled shooters, not me in particular, because I haven't spoken to him for a while, but misled shooters in relation to the National Firearms Agreement. He is saying, well, there's no changes other than the changes to the lever-action shotguns, except that we know there are dozens and dozens of changes, and that some of them are quite material. But I think what it highlights is that he is not across his portfolio on this issue, at least. He is just listening to the anti-gun bureaucrats in his department, believing what they say, accepting their view of things, and repeating the lines that they give him. And I wonder sometimes whether he'd actually know which end of a gun a bullet comes out of. I think he's seriously out of out of his comfort zone in that portfolio, the best thing the Prime Minister could do would be give him a job somewhere else where he knows a bit more about it. Clearly he knows nothing about it. If we had a decent Justice Minister who knew what he was talking about, or she was talking about, and also prepared to tell these anti-gun bureaucrats in the Attorney General's Department, you know, you're wrong, stop giving me this garbage information, and maybe even sack a few, you know, that would be a major change. I have indicated to the government that's what I'd like them to do. I have no undertakings yet, but I have a bit of leverage, so let's hope something happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Senator Leyonhjelm from the Liberal Democrats, and I thank you for his time today.
Thank you very much.